NFL free agency has come and gone. The draft has concluded, and with only a little bit amount of time left before training camp kicks off and then the season kicks off, the Chargers do still have some holes, some room for improvement. So, what should they do to improve this team? How can they improve this team? What are the holes and how important are they? Well, that's the questions we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be going over the positions that maybe still need a little bit of help, not as much as you may think, but just a little bit of help, how they can address that help, whether that's their own in-home roster, bring in new people, rookies fill in the spot, or things of that nature. And yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing. So if this is your first time on the channel, my name is John. This is the Sports Advocate. Thank you all for tuning in so much. I hope you stick to the end because it's going to be well worth your time. Give me a like, give me a dislike. Go ahead and give me some criticism down below as well. It really means a lot, helps me a lot. And comment what you think the current biggest need for the Chargers is, whatever it is, even if it's something that we, as the Chargers, have something really good at, but you think that it could be better or you think there's better options. And that goes for, like, if you think, I don't know, I want to give it an example, but if you think Keenan Allen's going to go on a slump really quickly and you think we need a better wide receiver one, go ahead and list that. If you think that's the biggest need, list it down below. Have a conversation. It's really good to have a conversation within your group, but I have content like this daily coming out, so why don't you hit subscribe because it's going to be well worth your time, and every single one of you is noticed and appreciated. But nonetheless, let's go ahead and get right into this. First things first, let's go over the team needs at this moment. And when I say needs, you got to take that with a grain of salt, as the team's roster looks extremely good already, but there's always going to be room for improvement. Even if you have a full, complete roster, there's still room for improvement. So obviously the biggest one, right tackle. Not really sure exactly what's going to happen. There's some ideas. Some people think it's already in-house. Some people have other ideas. But right tackle is definitely one of the highest needs. And then we have edge depth, bringing depth behind Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack. Then we have linebackers, a speed wide receiver, a tight end. And I also did list punter. I'll talk about that a little bit at the end. That's not as big as a need. It's just more or less I wanted somebody out of the draft. We didn't get him, so now I'm still a little bit worried. But let's start with right tackle. The arguably biggest need, something that was a big struggle last year. They obviously have players here on the roster that can play the position, but are they the right picks? So right tackle. First thing, like I said, here's how we're gonna go through this. I have a couple bullet points. We're going to go over the big bullet point. So in this point, it's veteran starters, and then I'll explain below that, and then I'll list the next. I think you'll understand. So right tackle, bring in a veteran starter. That obviously a great option. You bring in a veteran alongside two very young linemen in Zion Johnson and Rashawn Slater, and then you have Corey Linsley over there. So you have a couple veterans, you have a couple young guys. I think that can bring a lot to your team. Now, who do you bring in? There's not a lot of pure right tackles that are currently still in free agency. There's some tackles that rotate, some that maybe play left tackle for the most part, but can play right tackle. You have people like Nate Soldier, Jason Peters. There's options out there. I wouldn't say the veteran starter is my favorite option out of this, but what it does allow for you, first things first, you bring in the veteran. They can help these young guys learn some of these little minuscule little tactics that will really improve them a lot, even if you don't notice it as much on tape. It really helps a lot. Also, it allows some great depth, because if you don't bring in a veteran starter, you're going to have to move around people for now, and then you're losing some depth. But you bring in a veteran starter at right tackle, your depth is going to be Jameer Sawyer, the rookie the Chargers just drafted. I like him a lot. Trey Pipkins, Will Clapp, Brendan Jameis, all of those guys are backups. All of these guys on other teams may be starters. And that's your whole backup lineman core. That's very, very good. Now, other options, the Chargers do have money to bring in people if they wanted, but maybe they trust in who they have. Now, the very first option is just hope that Trey Pipkin steps up. A lot of people do have faith, it seems like, inside the organization. Outside, not so much. He's out of Sioux Falls, South Dakota. I'm not exactly sure which college it is. It just says Sioux Falls on his thing. You just hope that Pipkins can improve, and there's some good news coming out about him through this offseason so far that he has improved a lot. Great news. I'm not trusting in Storm Norton, but if Trey Pipkin improves, that's a good option, and that keeps your depth at at Jameer Sawyer, Will Clapp, Brendan Jameis. All very, very good options. Great depth. A couple other options. You move Matt Filer to right tackle. You move Jameer Sawyer over to left guard. Now you have two positions filled, two positions that are a little bit of worry. You bring in that rookie over at left guard. I'm confident in his ability to go play that position. He played all five. Quick thing. I have a video yesterday that I posted talking about all the rookies drafted. Go ahead and check it out. It's really well worth it. I talk about each rookie for like 5 minutes. I think I did a very, very good job. You can learn about Jameer Sawyer a little bit there. But he can definitely, I mean, not only me saying this, but I've seen it from a couple of these higher up people that grade the draft picks and all that stuff. And they're saying Jameer Sawyer could easily come into this team and be a year one starter and be quite good at it. So that's great news. Move him to left guard. Matt Filer, move him to right tackle. Filer played it in college. He also played at starter on the Pittsburgh Steelers at right tackle. Did a very, very good job. He came in after some injuries, and then they put him in that spot because they trusted him, and he looked very, very good at it. Now, other option, you keep Matt Filer at at left guard, and you move Jameer Sawyer over to right tackle. He also played right tackle or tackle in college at times. A little bit of worry, he's a little bit smaller for the position. Normally you see a bigger person like 6'6 to 6'8-ish height with really long arms at the tackle position, at least in the NFL. He's not quite that big, but he is super, super good at pass protection. His run game could use some help, but I expect improvement there. But his pass protection is very good, would be a big help there. I think what will likely happen is Matt Filer will be moved to right tackle. Jameer Sawyer will be at left guard. I think that's the most likely scenario, but there is other options. Veteran, you have Matt Filer at right tackle, you have Jameer Sawyer at right tackle, or Trey Pipkin steps up. I think all those are very good options. The next position of need, the edge depth. Now you have Joey Bosa, you have Khalil Mack, you have 100% faith in them. You got to worry about depth at all times, at every position. You got injuries, you got being tired, you got any number of things, so many things, or even just them not working in that game. Their move set is not able to get them around somebody, and then you have to shift them in or shift them out or rotating pieces. You need depth at every position, and edge depth is something that would be very, very good to add on this team. Now, first things first, pretty much every position here, the first thing is who's on the roster now. So, do you trust in your guys? Now, the current edge backups are Chris Rumpf and Jamal Davis II. I think Chris Rumpf, who was a rookie last year, definitely has room to improve. He looked quite well when he was on the field last year. Jamal Davis, I don't know a whole bunch about. The dude looks jacked. You're probably waiting to see their development. They're both under 30. They both got time to grow. And when you're looking for depth, you don't need somebody who could just be an instant starter on a different team. Now, that's nice to have, but that's not exactly what you're looking for. And I think Chris Rumpf and Jamal Davis are able to be good backups if it comes to that. Other options, of course, you bring an older edge, a veteran edge, someone that already has experience in the league. There is still plenty of options out there in the league right now in free agency. The biggest one, Jadeveon Clowney. I think he's still technically a free agent. I'm not targeting him at all. I'm just not. He would cost too much. I don't even know if he is technically there. I looked it up on NFL Network. It said he still was. The three guys I have for veteran edge help that I think would be great. Solid picks. We got Jerry Hughes, He had 18 tackles, 2 sacks, and 3 pass deflections last year. We have Morgan Fox. He had 34 tackles and 1.5 sacks last year. And, drum roll please, we have Melvin Ingram. Now, Chargers fans alike and Ingram himself probably don't know how to feel about that because he did leave the team for money reasons. Now, last year he had 25 tackles. He had 2 sacks and 1 pass deflection. That is the worst of his career. He did not look very good. We all know what he's capable of. He did very well when he was on the team alongside Joey Bosa. Do you bring him back if he would be willing to and put him at depth? What can you do with him? He definitely would be depth. He's not a starter on this team. He may be in other teams, but he's not on this team. Would he be willing to be a backup? Would he be willing to come back to the team that he left? Would the organization or the fans be okay with it? I don't know, but still a pretty good option here for depth at edge position. What do I think is the likely? Well, the team has money still. Now, you could wait and see how much of that will roll over to next year and save some of it for in-season acquisitions or things like that. Or you go sign somebody. Now, out of these positions that I all listed here, I think the edge would be the most likely place that they may go target someone who's left in free agency. Now, out of these people, who do I think it is? You got to remember we have new coaching staff, so they're not so familiar with Melvin Ingram, so they may not have any bias towards picking him up or not picking him up. I think the best option here for price, for talent, for all this stuff, and for the length of the contract, how long you're paying him, might be Morgan Fox. I think it might be Morgan Fox. Jerry Hughes may be a good option. I think he's a little bit on the older side, so he might not ask for a lot of money or a lengthy contract. I'd like to say Melvin Ingram, but he left the team, so I don't really want to bring him back. There's reports that Melvin Gordon may return back to the team, and I did not want him one bit. But you could bring back any 3 of these guys. I think maybe Morgan Fox is the most likely of the people, and probably the best for the price, I would say. Next, speed wide receiver. Now, hold on, guys. I can already hear you guys yelling in the comments and everywhere, literally everywhere. Chargers fans screaming. Yes, Bo Melton was there. Yes, Calvin Austin was there. Yes, there was plenty of options. But the people we drafted, you cannot trash them now, not having seen them play in the NFL yet, just because you didn't get the guy you wanted. Yes, there was good options up on the board, but there are still good options now. And let it be known, I do have faith in a guy on this team, a speed wide receiver, Jalen Guyton. Let him eat. Yes, he's not the most fast, but he runs a sub 4.40. He has experience with Justin Herbert, and he does very well with Justin Herbert. 31 receptions, 448 yards, and 3 touchdowns last year. I'd say that's quite good. I have faith in him. And another thing is, these people that were drafted could make an immediate impact on a team and may fit a scheme a little bit better than the people that you thought the Chargers needed to draft. Oh my gosh, I'm getting such a headache. So, you got to think about that a little bit. But Jalen Guyton, very good option. I am a big fan of Jalen Guyton, and I think he's very capable of doing it if the Chargers decide not to bring any speed wide receivers. Now, they did bring in an undrafted free agent that was very fast. I don't remember his name. I think it was the one out of Oregon State. I think. Don't quote me on that. There was a couple wide receivers that were picked up in undrafted free agency. But there are options still available. So, first things first, free agency. What options are there in free agency that are really fast? Well, I'll tell you one thing. One of the fastest players in the league is still up in free agency, John Ross. Now, he only has one season in his entire career over 300 yards receiving. Only one. But he runs a 4.22 40. That's fast. If you need a fast wide receiver, if you guys want a fast wide receiver, there's none better than John Ross right there. None, period. End of discussion. So you bring that guy in. But he has not exploded for talent. I mean, Jalen Guyton, 4.48 yards last year, only 1 year has John Ross done better than that. And no other year has he been close to that. Take that in consideration. Super fast, yes. Justin Herbert can get the ball to him. Yes, maybe he hasn't been on the best teams, but we have not seen a lot of production out of him. Next up, we have Will Fuller. Again, quite a fast guy. Sub 4.4, 40. I think it was like a 4.31. 4.31, yep. 4.31, 40 from Will Fuller. But some injury worries for the guy. I think he missed most of the season last year, maybe playing about 3 or so games. Ended up breaking his finger. He's on the Dolphins. Broke his finger. Needed to go back when they had to postpone it a little bit, and then he entered injured reserve, and then he missed the rest of the season. Can his finger fully heal? Will his finger fully heal? All that stuff, a little bit of worry. But even bigger of a worry, he has never finished a full season. He's never played every single game in a season because of injuries. I think the most he has played is either 11 or 13. So is that a worry for you? Are you okay with getting a really fast wide receiver even if he's not playing all 16 games? Do you need to bring in a guy? I'm not sure. I like Guyton a lot. I don't think you have to bring in a free agent. I think maybe they trust in Guyton or some of these undrafted free agents they brought in. Maybe they do have an eye on somebody. I'm not quite sure. What do I think's most likely in this scenario? I think John Ross or just keep Guyton. I think Guyton's just leaving it be with Guyton is the most likely scenario. The Chargers have a very good wide receiving core, and Guyton is plenty good at being that speed wide receiver for the team. But John Ross, you probably bring in at a lower value than some of these other super fast guys and just test him out, see if he has the potential to explode with a guy like Justin Herbert at quarterback. So, not a terrible option. Then we have linebackers. Now, the biggest question here, how big of a need is linebackers in this new scheme that Staley's running? Are you going to use them a lot? I mean, we just saw a big person for us, Kaiser White, who was first or second 4 tackles last year, just let go. Even though he only took a small contract, he was just let go. That probably, yes, that's worrisome. Yes, we had money for it. But if that's just okay to see him go, that takes a little bit worry off me because I feel like that means they have a plan. So what could it be? I don't think it's a big need. I don't think it's as big a need as some people are saying. Staley just doesn't run a huge linebacker, like a bunch of linebackers. I mean, can you name a linebacker for the Rams in any of the time that Staley was coaching on defense? I can't. And I'm not talking like outside linebacker that are rushers. Excuse me. Like Joey Bosa on some people's rosters may be listed as an outside linebacker instead of an edge. But how many pure linebackers have like popped out of the screen at you in a Staley scheme? So I'm not too worried about that. And if you look at the roster we have now, I trust in both guys at linebacker a lot. Drew Tranquill, big fan of him. A little bit injury worries. Big fan of him. He's looked very good when he was on the field. He's consistently getting tackles. He looks very good. He looks extremely good when he's healthy. A little bit of worry there. He's been injured. He's got injured the same time Derwin James missed a year, and he got injured a little bit last year, banged up. But I trust in him. Kenneth Murray looked phenomenal his rookie year. He was one of the top guys for tacklers on the team last year, sophomore slump. But hear me out. A lot of Chargers fans are trashing him. Want him gone already, want to trade him. Let me just say a couple things. For one, he got injured halfway through the season, and he just had to get surgery on it like a month ago because it was that bad. Still, he ended up getting surgery on that. Also, he had some family things going on before the season started. I will not speak about them. I feel like that's not my area to talk about. But there were some family things that were going on for Kenneth Murray before the season started that definitely probably messed with him a little bit. So, let that be known. I think Kenneth Murray is going to come out very, very good this year. I do believe that. I've trust in him. He looked quite good in his rookie year. last year there was a lot of things going on in his life, physically and mentally. I think he'll come out looking very good. Now, his zone capabilities, definitely room for improvement, but with the scheme, again, you kind of hide the linebackers in Staley's system. Now, what is the other option? And I'm not going to say bring in a veteran. I'm not. The other option is you move your DBs around, which is exactly what I expect Staley to do. I expect Derwin to move into the box. I expect J.K. Scott to move in the box. I expect Nas Adderley to be in the box at times. I expect the safeties, some of these outside DBs and stuff. Michael Davis, perfect example, to be in the box, almost like a linebacker, but they're a DB. A bigger defensive back who has speed will be in the box, playing like a linebacker role, but not being a linebacker. I think that's exactly what's going to happen. I don't think linebacker is as big as a need as some people are liking to say, and I don't think they need to go pick up a veteran or anyone in free agency. Now, I do think they picked up somebody in undrafted free agency. Just one guy, can't name him off the top of my head, because I think the Chargers picked up the most undrafted free agents out of the entire league. It was so many. It was crazy to look at. I'm not worried about linebacker. I think there's plenty of people on this team already that are capable of doing it, so I'm not too worried about that. Excuse me. Next up, second to last. Pretty much the last, because the last one I'm barely even talking about. Tight ends. Is this a huge need? No. Is this a need that I would like to target because I'm a big fan of that position? Yes. I've always been a big fan of this position. Now, if it's because Antonio Gates, Kellen Winslow, I don't know. The Chargers team, I feel like, has always been connected to that tight end position, and I feel like there's a little bit of a hole of that top Pro Bowl talent tight end. I mean, even Hunter Henry, when he was healthy, is a top Pro Bowl level tight end. And I feel like that's something that the Chargers have kind of always been known for, and they don't really have right now. And I'd like to bring that in. So, tight ends, do you need to bring it in? No. Would I like to? Yes. There is definitely room for improvement. Current tight ends on the team, Gerald Everett, Donald Parham. I like both of those guys. I'm a big fan of Parham. I hope he comes back from injury. I think he can be a Pro Bowl-like tight end when he's fully healthy and he's getting going and Herbert's finding him. We also have Trey McKitty. There's good options at the tight end position. But I'd like to bring in another one. So, our options, you look at free agency, there's some older veteran guys. Maybe you bring back Jared Cook. I think he did quite well for the team. Maybe not as much as people wanted, but you bring him in like Antonio Gates did. He played just a couple more years for the Chargers when he wasn't as top talent, just as that threat. A great example of a red zone threat that maybe isn't as good as he used to be, but could be brought to the team and as a free agent. Rob Gronkowski. Yes, Tom Brady's back in the league. Yes, Gronk has not confirmed if he's retiring or not, or if he's coming back or not. I expect him to go to Tom Brady if he does play. But maybe he takes a chance. Maybe he wants a young buck. Maybe he sees something in Herbert and he says, hey, I want to go play for that team. They got a lot of options. Rob Gronkowski on this team would be a great help. Huge, huge help in red zone. I think he's a great blocker. He looks very good throughout the whole field, but he's super good in that inside the 20. This would be a great pick. This would be an Antonio Gates getting old kind of help, and that's that big tight end name that I think a lot of Chargers fans want to see on this team. Now, he might cost a little pretty penny. Jared Cook would be cheaper. The last option, Kyle Rudolph. He just played for the Vikings. I think he's on the Giants right now. Maybe you bring Kyle Rudolph. I think that's a name that quite a few people know. He was quite good on the Vikings. I know that because I had to watch Vikings a lot because that's about the only game that's on in my area. And that sucks. But nonetheless, Kyle Rudolph could be an option. We have three options right there, three veteran options that could bring something to the team, whether that's teaching these younger guys or just bringing that red zone threat. I think that's all very good options. And then rookies. Could the rookies fill that spot? We have Stone Smart, undrafted free agent that they brought in. Eric Kromahovic. I butchered your name. If you somehow witness this, I'm so sorry. Eric Cromaho. We're going to stop. Eric Chrome. That's his name from now on. Eric Chrome. Undrafted free agent brought to the Chargers right after the draft. Also, another undrafted free agent tight end that I would really like, and I was preaching this way back in who should we take in the 7th round in my previous videos. Sign Trey Berry. He's an undrafted free agent tight end. I like him a lot. He's 6'6", out of Boston College. He looks very well. He'll fit similar to Donald Parham. I would love if he is brought in. What I think is the most likely, leave it be. I think that's the most likely. Maybe you bring in a veteran guy, but I think you just leave it be. You have 3 quite good tight ends. You have 2 that I have a lot of trust in. Trey McKitty, not so much, but I think he's still quite talented. And you already brought in 2 undrafted free agent rookie tight ends. I think tight end gets left be. Now the last position of need is punter. I wanted Matt Ariza so desperately bad. We do have J.K. Scott on this roster. He used to play for the Packers. He did quite good. He was averaging about 40 or so yards per punt. Obviously, I would prefer the Chargers to have a little bit better of a punter. I grew up through the year where the Chargers missed playoffs because their special teams was so garbage. I'd like some improvement at punter. I'm fine with J.K. Scott. I really like Ty Long a lot. I know he wasn't consistent, but I really like Ty Long. Sad to see him not on the team, or at least doesn't appear to be the starter. J.K. Scott, I'm all right with. I really wanted Matt Ariza desperately bad. Sadly, he did not fall to 6th round. But quickly, let's go over everything, and then we'll wrap up here. Right tackle, veteran starter, Matt Filer at right tackle, Jameer Sawyer at right tackle, Trey Pipkin upgrade. What do I think is most likely? I think they're hoping for Trey Pipkin upgrade. I think the most likely is Matt Filer to right tackle. Edge depth. You trust Chris Rumph and Jamal Davis, or you bring in a veteran edge. What do I think is most likely? I think either or are about as likely as each other. I think this is the place where the Chargers might take a little bit of money and spend it. You have Jerry Hughes, Morgan Fox, Melvin Ingram. Speed wide receiver. Let guy Neat. I think that's my favorite. I think that's most likely. Other options, free agency, John Ross, Will Fuller. Maybe you trust in the guy that you got in undrafted free agency also. Linebackers, how big of a need is it? I don't think it's that big of a need. Trust in your guys. Drew Tranquil, Kenneth Murray. Trust him. He's gonna move he's gonna move his DBs up into the box like a linebacker. Derwin James, J.K. Scott, Michael Davis, Nas Adderley. Full faith in what he's got going on linebacker. Not worried at all. I don't even think they pick up anybody in free agency at all. Tight ends. Options here, leave it be. Free agency, rookies. What do I think is the most likely? Leave it be. I think that's exactly what's going to happen. I would be very happy if you brought in a veteran. But I think you're going to leave it be with Donald Parham, Gerald Everett, Trey McKitty, Stone Smart, and Eric Chrome. I think most likely he's going to be left be. Punter, they're going to leave that be. I wish there was upgrade space. So, honestly, we just looked at every single issue right now. Out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6, because punter, positions of need, improvement, things like that. And here's exactly what happened. In one position, you just move a guy on the line already, and you're good. Now you have 4 more positions. Oops. Edge depth, maybe bring in a guy. That's the only position I'm saying maybe you bring in a guy, other than tight end. But that's definitely bias. And then every other position, I'm saying leave it be because there is guys and or I trust what the plan is. So are big improvements needed? Stuff like that. I think this roster looks great. I think there's room for improvement, but I think the improvement will be within during training camp, getting everyone just improving, tweaking a little thing for the players already on the roster instead of bringing in new people. I think that's what's going to happen. So, if you watch this long, you must be a Chargers fan. I'm glad to have you. There's not a lot of us out there. But also, if you stuck along this far, you must have enjoyed this content. So go ahead and give me a like. Also, subscribe because I have content like this daily. NFL, NBA, and NHL content pretty much daily. I may miss like once every 2 weeks. But go ahead and hit that subscribe button because I would appreciate it a lot. And comment down below what you think the biggest need for this roster is. But as always, I hope I taught you something. I hope it put a smile on your face. Hope it made you laugh. This is something that's really important to me, affecting someone else's life in a great way. And as always, you guys all be safe out there. But something deep